Hello everybody, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Thank you for being here today. It is a beautiful autumnal day. The weather is cool, there's a slight breeze in the air. It's just refreshing and gorgeous. I've got all my dark colors. I'm wearing this dark green today. I like burgundy and just the feeling of the autumn. I love the mood of it, and hopefully you do too. And it's a time and a way of reflection and withdrawing. You're sort of getting ready for the darker winter ahead and kind of stocking up on things. I've just ordered some soups and things I know I'll need for backup in the winter months, and I just love the season. And there are some things that I do every autumn in my own world that I'd like to share with you, and also an article by Stephanie Raffelock, who's one of our bloggers. And Stephanie wrote this great article, I'd love you to read it, on her sort of transitional exercises, the things that she does to celebrate and welcome in the autumn. So maybe you've got some as well, and I'd love to hear about it, because everybody, I think, pulls on their senses at this time of the year: the scent, the colors, even the hearing, the audible sound of the stillness in the air. And so she has a couple that I totally identify with, and some that I don't. But check out her article and add your own to this, so that together we can celebrate this season that we're coming into. It has been a difficult 2 years, but it was a difficult year. 2021 was a year when we expected things to change, to get a little bit lighter and better, and to be able to travel more. And we found ourselves in a world that was still in transition. So I hope that you're doing okay. I hope that you feel that we're here for you, that 60 and Me is, we're just a friend on the journey with you. And as we celebrate this new season, I want to, have you join in the conversation and, just be by each other's side. I think we need that right now. So the first thing that Stephanie talks about is decorating the front porch. Now, I don't actually have a front porch because I live in an apartment, but I have fresh flowers. I've got mums, chrysanthemums that are in the colors of gold and maroon and just beautiful colors. I have a big pot of those on my table in the window, and that is my balcony. That is my decoration of my front porch. But a lot of you have houses with front porches, and there's lots of things that you can do. One thing that she uses, pumpkins, of course. And unless you are a child at heart, you're probably not doing any kind of decorating or carving of pumpkins, but maybe you do. But if you've got grandkids or nieces and nephews, they love that scooping out the pumpkin and making funny faces, putting candles inside, so you can decorate your front porch in that way. Another thing that I do on my door, not on my front porch, but I make a wreath. Well, I don't necessarily always make one. I purchase one. I change my wreaths seasonally. And in the summer, I've got things with seashells and turquoise colors and maybe some driftwood. And in the autumn months, I shift to something that's got more of a burgundy tone, flowers, maybe just some gold touches to it, that kind of, or not quite Christmas yet, because I do a separate a wreath at the holidays. But it's just that sense of changing leaf colors, the golds and the oranges, and that's what Stephanie suggests that you consider on your front porch. She actually says, and the word that she uses is an altar. It's kind of an altar to the season, and I love that concept of it's kind of it's a time that we celebrate, give thanks, show gratitude for our lives, and that this coloring of our porches, decorating our front porches, is an altar to that. It's a gratitude to the powers that be that give us this wonderful gift of life. Twigs, she weaves flowers in twigs and just lays them on the front porch, and gives her kind of that first transitional, almost like a doorstep entry into the new season. Another one that she does is she writes, she's a writer by profession anyway, but she tends to write more in the colder weather, and I totally get it with that. She's actually like me, like I'm a knitter, and I've got like wool and knitting going on at the moment. I've got in fact 2 different things around me that I'm working on. But there's something about the creative process during the autumn months that just comes to life. We just feel like we want to make things and create things. I think it is in our DNA. I think as human beings, we just have this amazing ability and desire to protect and nurture and create in the autumn months in preparation for the winter. So it's a good time, she says, to start writing your journal if that's something that you are interested in doing. One thing she talks about is poetry. You don't have to be a great writer. You don't have to have the skills of writing a whole book if you want to write some poetry. And I was reading or listening to a video about poetry. I forget the name of the gentleman now. It was on Masterclass about poetry being basically you don't have to start with anything clever. It's just, I'm sitting on a porch listening to the birds. Or I'm weaving a wreath to put on my front door. You just say where you are. That's the grounding first sentence in a poem. And then you just talk. It can be short sentences, long sentences, one sentence, 10 sentences. It can be a poem is just so personal. And in many ways, they're not even meant to be published. They're just our talking to ourselves about our experience of the present, of that present moment. He did one on a river, a waterfall. And he was sitting there watching a waterfall as it led to the sea. And it was just a beautiful poem. I think he was an award-winning poet. But that whole idea of poetry in the autumn months just seems to go together for me. I don't know. I agree with Stephanie on this. One thing she suggests too during this autumn month is to start thinking about the holiday season and things you might want to create, make, like necklaces. I tend to make more necklaces for gifts around the holidays, putting pictures together, creating collages, thinking of things that you can do and start working on that might take a couple of weeks or months to have ready for that holiday gift. This is a good time to create. So that's the second thing. Bringing the outdoors in is the third thing. And I really get this. I mean, I actually still, probably many of you, collect leaves. I go out and I look on the ground and I see beautiful leaves and I just gather them up and I put them in a book, I press them together and they all crumble, but they still have that moment. They were on the ground, now they're in my home, in my world. Do you remember, I know I'm talking to women over 60 here, but do you remember when we were in school, we used to take leaves and press them with wax paper? I don't even know if you can buy wax paper anymore, but it's like that paper that's got kind of a glossy coating on it for cooking. And you could put your leaves on the wax paper and then put like a cloth down and iron it. And the wax from the paper would go onto the leaf and preserve it. Okay, now this is a flashback to my childhood. I don't even know if anyone else had that experience or did that when they were little. But it's that whole idea of bringing nature inside during the autumn months and, just kind of watching the memories too of the outdoors. So, for example, the wind, the feeling of the air, watching the clouds move. They seem to move differently during the autumn months. They gather and they blow through the sky. And this is, for me, the season of rainbows because you get that kind of experience of light and darkness and water all at the same time, and it creates these amazing rainbows. So for me, the autumn season is often filled with rainbow experiences, and you can bring that in. Stephanie talks about bringing it in and making a centerpiece on your table or your desk or anywhere in your home. There's no rules, and just creating a centerpiece out of just random twigs and wildflowers and leaves and just things, mosses, things that are in nature at this time of the year. I just agree with her 100% on this. I just think bringing it in, not picking plants and stuff necessarily, but like my flowers, I should have brought them over to show you, but I have, just a beautiful, which is very rare for me, plant that's managed to live through a couple of weeks on my table. My house is a bit warm, so they don't like the heat. But anyway, one of the final things that she talks about is sharing with friends. And of course, this is the time for friends. Even if we can't go visit them in person, we can make friends online. And if you are interested, by the way, 60andMe has our own little private group called the Patreon Supporters Group. And we get together Monday, Wednesday in kind of we call it a friendship lounge. And people are meeting each other, even getting together. We have 2 women that are going to get together in person in New York next week. Or is it Friday? But it's soon. And I'm just so thrilled that, women are meeting on 60andMe and then meeting in person. I love that. But, sharing with friends, sharing your gratitude, your transition of this time of year. The other thing and final thing that she talks about in her 5 autumn rituals to celebrate the new year is food. And she makes something called apple butter. And I've never made this, but in her article, which I'll leave a link to in the description box underneath this video, there's like a little box and it says show more. If you click on that, you'll come up with a description. And if you're on your phone, I think there's a little arrow pointing down, but there's a description under the video, and that's where this link will be to her article. And she talks about her apple butter. And it's like, apples, organic apple juice, nutmeg, cinnamon, ground cloves. Cook it for 10 hours, and then you do something with it, stir it, and then you put it back in the slow cooker for another day. It's just like a long process of stewing this beautiful apple concoction. And that's like her 5th way that she celebrates the new year. Anyway, the whole recipe is in the article, so go check it out. Anyway, thank you, Stephanie, for this great inspiration. And what are the things that you do to celebrate the autumn season? Leave your comments below. I'd love to know. Take really good care, everybody. Hope you have a fabulous day. So much love to all of you this time of the year in particular. I hope that you have a great autumn. Thanksgiving is coming up, of course. I don't know when you're watching this video, but I just want you to know that we love you and care for you and respect you and admire you. The stuff that you're doing is amazing, and you should be proud of it. Anyway, thank you again for being here, being my friend on this journey, and we'll talk again really, really soon. Bye-bye for now.